I'm Darren with Akshon Esports, and welcome back to Akshon Recap. To start things off, X6 Gaming, a professional Korean Overwatch team that's been competing in the last few seasons of Apex, has tweeted earlier today that some of their players have been approached by Overwatch League teams with signing offers. It is uncertain which teams have their eye on the X6 players, but I believe likely candidates include Choi Hyao-bin, Godsby, and Architect, all of which being standout players in their respective roles. If the players decide to accept the offers, X6 announced that they will not be disbanding and look to bring on new players in preparation for Overwatch Contenders starting on March 5th. If you're interested in watching them play, X6 Gaming is currently competing in the online Chinese tournament, Overwatch Team Story Season 4. A link to the stream will be available in the description box below. With Who Are You and Alarm soon to make their way over to North America as members of Fusion University, their former fellow Lunatic-Hai teammate Guardian and former Rox Orcus player Geguri have announced that they too have been picked up by Overwatch League organizations. It is most likely that the two will also be competing in Contenders North America. Now this raises an interesting question. Looking at Contenders North America, 7 of the 12 slots were given to Overwatch League organizations to compete with their academy teams, 4 held by teams from the last season of Contenders, and the final slot going to the top team of Overwatch Contenders Trials. It's still too early to predict which team will be the most dominant, as several rosters have yet to be announced, but it is a bit concerning to see so many Overwatch League-backed teams participating in a tournament that was built on the idea of being a place to showcase up-and-coming amateur talent. Questions raised by critics of the current Contenders North America format include, will it just become a farm league filled by Overwatch League teams? What will be the competitiveness from non-Overwatch League teams? And are there enough long-term financial incentives for smaller esports organizations to even bother running a Tier 2 Overwatch team? These are all important questions that we should be concerned about if Overwatch as an esports is to remain healthy at all levels of play. We would love to hear your thoughts on these issues, and we'll be responding to you in the comment section below. For our next story of the day, let's talk about the observers in the Overwatch League and the recent bout of criticism they've been receiving. After 4 weeks of play, fans outrage over the failure of the in-game observers to properly capture what they believe to have been key gameplay moments, peaked following a particularly bad weekend of questionable camera work. In a feature from Watchpoint, it was shown that there are 2 free cameras, 2 first-person cameras, and a top-down overview camera, which that the observers have all to work with, all under the watchful eye of the lead observer, Jason Baker. I'm personally a bit split on how critical the community has been about the observer experience so far. On one hand, you have clips like this, where the camera is not focused on the action, and instead it's showcasing Hagopun Zenyatta doing work from the back line. In his defense, Jason Baker stated that he was open to constructive criticism. In light of the negativity, he has since privated his Twitter account. For those unable to see his tweets, Baker stated his philosophy on his observation style and why the camera mostly stays on one team. Not saying we are perfect. We know when we make mistakes or miss something. If the casters can tell a story and the crowd cheers at the big moments, I do feel pretty good. Those mistakes do keep me up at night. Instead of constantly switching camera angles and spending over a third of the game watching a Tracer or a Genji, the Overwatch League observation style has been directed in such a way as to try to build a narrative for the match and showcase players who otherwise would rarely be in the spotlight. However, this has unfortunately resulted in moments such as the following clip, where the air battle is prioritized instead of the action on the ground.
Incredible, Kellex had to back away and heal up Gamsu, but Neko was found in the meantime. Now Agilities might have a little bit more room to breathe. He's looking for that final blow. One more and we'll get the job done, but Casper's eluding him so far. He's low on HP, but so is Agilities here. It's a nail-biter of a battle, and Agilities now trying to back away because he knows Note can be very nasty with those micro rockets. In the meantime, on the ground, when much of the fight's actually happening, Envy has been decent.
Or this moment you may remember from one of New York Excelsior's games, where the viewers were left confused as to what happened if they hadn't been watching the kill feed, as the camera stays on Libero for far too long. Many fans look to Apex's camera system as being superior, as it was able to produce great clips such as the following between Envious and Africa Blue, created through the stitching of camera angles of both teams. Or this recent clip from Open Division Korea, showcasing what a great spectating experience can be with seamless ultimate prioritization by the observer. But for every great moment, let's not forget that there were many moments of confusion and awkward angles, leaving the casters to think on the fly. We have to remember that Overwatch is a messy game to spectate and incredibly challenging for observers, as there is no puck to follow like in hockey or a ball to keep an eye on in football, in addition to having 12 unique players to watch, each with their own perspective on the action that is almost constantly happening somewhere on the map. The job of an Overwatch observer is rather thankless when you think about it. You're expected to be always doing your job perfectly, and you get roasted whenever a key moment is missed, but hardly ever receive praise. Next up, we have a new segment of Action Recap featuring Adam Nalen interviewing some of your favorite pros.
On a bit of a lighter note, the Outlaws have kind of created this reputation for being the dreamboat team, if you will. People have likened you to people like George Clooney and Dave Franco. How do you feel about these associations, and what have your interactions been like in that kind of light?
You know, it's like that effect when, you know, like I'm sitting next to Cool Matt, I'm sitting next to Clockwork, I'm sitting next to, you know, Finland's gift to Esports, Jerry. It's hard to beat, you know. It's like, it's not fair having a guy as good looking as Cool Matt on your teams. It's just, the competition can't compete.
Cool Matt, what makes Matt so cool?
I mean, my name is kind of meant to be like self-deprecating and ironic because I don't really see myself as that cool.
In League of Legends news, Riot Games has finally announced the location and date for the 2018 North America LCS Spring Split Finals. If you're planning on attending this year, mark your calendars and pack some sunscreen, as the top 4 teams this split will be heading down to South Beach in Miami, Florida to duke it out at the Fillmore over the weekend from April 7th to 8th. Following up on the story of Locodoco being relieved of his position as head coach of the Golden Guardians, sources have informed ESPN that Locodoco was fired after breaching the Golden Guardians' zero-tolerance policy after making an inappropriate comment before filming a session at the LCS studio. After remaining quiet once the news broke, Locodoco tweeted that he'll need some time to work things out, but mentioned not to take everything at face value and will be clearing things up in the future. Lastly, if you ever wanted to have a brief recap on the history of the esports industry in around 5 minutes, Day 9, a caster which most people know for his contributions to the StarCraft scene, has made a new video to get you guys hyped for Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang, a StarCraft 2 tournament that marks a historic moment in esports as it will act as the lead-in event for the Winter Olympic Games 2018. And with that, that's all for this installment of Action Recap. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other content, which you can see on the screen. Or, if you do like it and you want to be up to date when more comes out, consider subscribing by clicking the action icon. Otherwise, if you have something to say and want to join in on the conversation, consider joining our Discord server. Links to that and everything else mentioned in this video are in the description box. This has been Darren from Action Esports, and see you in the next one.